Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. I'm just getting up, so please forgive me how I look. I just want to get um, the things that happened to me, down before I forget. Yes, it's about 7 7:37 in the morning. Yeah, I just kind of opened my eyes maybe 10 minutes ago. I had a very peculiar night, and the meditation thing that I had this morning. I'm just looking outside of the window right now. Yeah, I have a window out there. Yeah, my curtains are open, and looks like the sun is out and everything. Yeah, let me tell you what happened to me last night. I I just did some minor shopping yesterday, and I did do some meditation, and it was just standard. Nothing happened then. Um, it was also raining outside yesterday. And sometimes when it rains, your mood feels different. And I started to, yeah, I felt kind of ho hum. And I said, I want to put on some music. I heard this song, this 1980s song that I liked. So I downloaded it, from iTunes, and I stopped playing the music. I really like 1980s music. But I noticed at one point my head, my temples especially, started to hurt. I thought this was really weird. Why am I getting a headache? It was early, relatively early. It was at that time now, 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. I said, maybe I should just go to bed. Yes. Good morning, viewer. Good morning. Welcome. I hope your day is going well. Just want to give um, uh, tell you my experience from last night and this morning before I forget. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't have my glasses on right now. I can't see your message, but welcome. Yeah. So um, let's see. Yes, I was listening to music for about 2 hours, but I was starting to get a headache. I said, hey, maybe you should just go to bed, just relax, read a book. But I noticed I was getting anxiety. And again, my anxiety starts in the center of my chest. I do get anxiety attacks. And so I was wondering what am I anxious about? And at this time, for whatever reason, I get sensitive. My body is sensitive. I see certain things, it could trigger certain anxieties. And it never used to be like this until um, 2011, late 2011. That's when the phenomena started. So, anyway, so I climb into bed. I also get things to drink, my water, the importance of drinking water. And I taking um, these protein drink because I do a lot of walking and stuff, and this supplement for muscle recovery. So I took one of them, and still feeling a little anxious in my body, over here. So I said, hey, let me just, I said, look, whatever what it is, so be it, do your course. And I got that advice from another YouTuber who had uh, used to get anxiety attacks, and rather than trying to fight it, he said, look, you do what you're going to do. So I gave that type of approach. And then, let's see what happened. Yes, so I turn on my candles. I love candlelight. And I had my night light on, I mean, my lamp on. So I said, hey, let me do some reading. So I get this book, you know, it's very interesting. It's hard to read, but it's all about, different secret societies. What do you call it? The paranormal, metaphysics. It's a little bit of David Icke, that researcher's work, that genre. So when I pick it up to read, my body, this is the point I want to get to, my body starts to vibrate. I said, interesting, my body wasn't vibrating before, but I pick up the book and I start to read in it, and then all of a sudden I feel my whole torso starting to vibrate, and I think even my arms. So I said, interesting. And the more that I read, I didn't read it long. I said, it seemed to be getting more pronounced. So I said to myself, hey, I might as well go with this, go with the flow. Don't try to fight certain things. Yeah, I think at that point I turned on the candles, yes. Because I thought, okay, I'm going to turn off the lights, turn on the candles, and just see what happens. So I noticed when I lie on my back, my back was propped up on pillows, but I'm on an incline, and the vibrations got so strong. It started to go in, it seemed to concentrate a lot in the pelvic area, but it also was traveling up and even to my chest, up to here. So I started to give, because I didn't want to get afraid. I said, this has happened to me before, the vibrations, but go with it. And it actually doesn't feel bad. So I said, okay, to help me with this process, give positive affirmations. Yeah. Because, I feel that when something happens to you in general, it's your outlook on things, how it can turn the event into something negative or positive. So I wanted this to be positive. Because if you start to think spooky things, then that energy will manifest to something spooky. And if it's something positive, then it's something, good. Yeah. Okay. See your response. I'm going to get my glasses. Okay. I'm going to put on my glasses. So if you do have another message for me, I'm going to read it. Yeah. But when this live stream uploads, you'll be able to see all the comments. If there's an option on the top right of the screen on YouTube that allows you to view all the live chats. Okay, just in case if anyone who's watching doesn't know that. So when I am able to read it, I want to read it out loud to those who can't see it so they can enjoy the chats as well. Okay, so either way, excuse me, how to go? Yeah, so I lie down and I give positive affirmations like I am positive, I'm strong, I'm confident. Uh, I give thanks to the earth. I gave thanks to the creator, all, things like that. It just went with it. And it went on for quite a while. At one point, it did stop, but before it stopped, I remember this time that I felt the vibrations in my rear end and up in the front, and even part of the back. But that was the first time I noticed that on my backside, I felt the vibrations also. It was strong. So let's see. So that basically went on all night, and then it started to level off. It seems also stronger if I lie on my back versus if I lie on my side. And it's a similar type of vibration. Now it comes to my memory. I had a ayahuasca For those of you who don't know what ayahuasca is, it's called a plant medicine. It comes from Peru. At least they use a lot of it in Peru. They also have it in Brazil as well. It's a brew. They make it into like a tea, but it's very thick, almost sludgy, and it's very potent. Extremely bitter taste, but sometimes they put other uh, components in it to give it a uh, sometimes it has like a licorice type flavor, at least in my experience. I've had 4 plant medicine ceremonies. Um, and when you take that plant medicine, you do see things when you close your eyes, and your body starts to vibrate. And it's a similar type of vibration. The ayahuasca, it was all over, while what happened to me last night was more focused in my torso area, but it also as well did get my legs, my hands, and even a little bit of my head. Um, it also felt like I've had a hypnosis session with this woman, Abba Weinstein. She comes on YouTube. She does tons of videos and she shows her clients who are under hypnosis. None of my work, the work I did under her, is not aired, but I did have the experience with her. I didn't have any visuals or anything like that, but I did feel my body, after the session, when you come to, your whole body is vibrating. Yeah. So that's the type of vibration. So those of you who's had the hypnosis session with Abba Weinstein, or who what do you call it, or who have had ayahuasca, that's the type of vibration that I had. And I still have a little bit of the vibration in my um, torso, more like in the center. So I do eventually fall asleep. And then I remember, okay, I've had a lot of dreams. The dreams I had were all mishmash. Um, People who I don't know, they were pe- something involving this church I used to belong to, and that a family member of mine was getting tested there, and he was to be singing for them. Now, that particular family member does not sing at all, but it was interesting. But it was a church I used to belong to, and I remember saying, "Oh, yeah, I used to go to that church, and yeah, it's right over there." And I was pointing across the street, and I noticed outside the window, it was in a large city. I didn't recognize any of the buildings. And then when I went to look at the building, the church I used to go to, um, it it disappeared with some other building there. Yeah. You know, I said in the dream the name of the church I used to belong to, but but it was I was getting confused with the churches. One of the churches was in Brooklyn, and another church was in Manhattan. So even though I gave the name in the dream of the one in Manhattan, I was really thinking about the church in Brooklyn. So it was interesting. I was getting confused in the dream. And it was just a lot of things happening in the dream. It didn't, I was just here and there. And I had anxiety also in the dream. I remember a large body of water and 2 people sitting below me. They were young people, teenagers. And I'm standing up, but I'm looking over water. And I remember the anxiety that I had, and I had to like sit back down for the anxiety to stop. It seems like bodies of water could, when I see it in a dream, puts in anxiety, especially if I'm up, up above it, high up. I noticed that happens a lot in dreams. So I didn't feel safe. I wanted to feel grounded. And then I remember there were a lot of African people. Um, they were Americanized. They were wearing American type clothing, but the appearance looked like people from West Africa. There were a lot of women and there were some children, and they were in a building. I think I'm not sure what this building was, but maybe it was a church or something. I don't know. And I didn't know these people, but in a dream, it felt like I knew of these people. And I remember at one point, I looked down below at what's called it was some heating device, and what you heat gold in. And I see like a blob of something yellowish in this mold, and goldish light color. But real gold doesn't look like that. This was a paler, yellowish, golden color, and it seemed almost transparent, almost like a gel. And she said, "Oh, you can just, you something about, you pour it in the mold, something like that." So I remember I took the corner piece, the corner of this container, and I poured the rest into the mold. It was just a small blob, like the size of your palm. And then I think it was to run something. My attention then went into looked like an oven, and it was an African lady standing by it, and a young child down below to the corner of this oven type device. I assumed that maybe it was to bake that golden piece or something. But the little girl could have been 1.5, 2 years old, and she was lying on the ground next to it, playing around the oven. I said, I don't want you to get hurt, the heat. So I remember I pulled her away. I think I dragged her or something. And the next thing I know, I'm in some hallway and there were people there, and there was a little mouse, and the mouse was running around, and I was a little nervous of the mouse, but I saw something like this in real life on Columbus Day at the parade. It seemed tiny, tiny little field mouse, and I was getting a little squirmish, but at the same time I was amused. And I think I remember I wake up, but I keep my eyes closed. That's what I do now when I wake up from my dreaming. I keep my eyes closed and I just relax my body, because now it's going to go into a meditation, at least what I call a meditation session. Um, and at this time, I often have visuals. So this is what this portion of my live stream is going to be about. What happened this morning on Tuesday with this. So I and I've seen what I saw before. Again, it's very, very faint, but it looks like, well, I was in some type of room, and I think it had a domed ceiling. Yeah, oftentimes I look up. I notice when I'm uh, describing something, I often look up and to the left, and it helps my memory. Yes, good morning, new viewer on. Yes, so this meditation session, I saw, like, I was in a room, and I think that the shape of the top of the ceiling was almost like a dome shape. And I remember a strip of light, like a glowy type of light. It was a strip of light going across the whole top. And then I said, try to notice the details. That's also what I do now. If I don't say it to myself, I don't remember. So I said, okay, try to remember the details. What do you see? What do you see? Okay. And then, so I started noticing. Then I see, like, it was the shape of bricks, modern day bricks. And there were lights though. And these brick-shaped lights were within that beam of light, that strip up above. Um, and the brick shape that's within this beam was staggered. It was all throughout it. So it wasn't like one strip of bricks. It was all like staggered, and they were lit as well. And down below, like it's like when you're dreaming, you could be the viewer, or you could be looking at yourself. But in this case, I was the viewer, so I didn't see what I looked like, but I was just looking ahead, and I noticed there was something large, a large figure, and to me, it looked almost like an insect. It had, yeah, it reminded me of an ant, a large, large ant. And I mean, it sounds weird, doesn't it? But yeah, it looked like it reminded me of the ant because it had the type of body and the expended, the type of arms, uh, dark in color. Again, it's so faint, I could hardly really see detail because it's not bright enough in the room. And I don't know why, but my impression is that they didn't want me to see them. That's the main thing. They were looking at, I think it was two of them, and they were looking at me. And I remember, like, let me show you something. I have a plant in front of me. Just so that you get the texture of you see that plant with the long, see those long leaves? Okay. You saw that. Okay. I'm sorry, my nose is itching. But yeah, those long, skinny leaves. That's it looked like those ants had things like that coming out of them. That something that same type of texture. Um, but yeah, like an ant, they have the skeletal shell, and they're like doing something around me. But the only thing I could get is that um, I feel that my consciousness or whatever is actually there in that room, but I'm not supposed to be awake. I think my interpretation, or more my impression, I should say, good morning, other viewer, good morning. Yes, that I feel that these ants or whatever, that I'm in a room with them in another dimension, and that I had woken up and they want to cover. They don't want me to really see what's going on. And so that's why it's so faint. And then I stopped seeing what I was seeing, and then I just opened my eyes. Now these type of, especially the vision of the ants that I just mentioned, or what reminds me of ants or some type of insect, I've had before, and I think yes, so the day maybe 2 days ago, I had the morning vision, after I sleep and I keep my eyes closed, of the what looks something like a large snake, a giant thick snake. It's it's all at the same dimension, if that makes any sense. Like, even though they're two separate dreamlike states or vision states, it seems to be in the same type of awareness or dimension. And so the intensity of it, of how I could see what I'm seeing, is the same. It's very, very faint, almost like almost like as if a filter was over your vision to make it very, very hazy, very dark, so you really can't see detail. Oh, let's see. Another detail about those ants, where was? Let me try to remember. Yeah, even though it's really faint, um, like it had these, I think on the ground, I think the ground might have been metallic, but it had like a three spokes like that. as a pattern on the ground all over, if I remember right. Yeah. It almost remind me of like in subways, at least in New York City, some of these subways, they have the steps and it's made out of a metal and it has that pattern. And I think it's supposed to be, anti-skid proof or something to help you not slide. Yeah, but there were patterns like that all over. Um, Again, I'm not good for detail, but it was just a lot to see. But again, it's very faint. So that's basically my experience from last night. Last night with the body vibration, and this morning with the uh, vision of the what looks like insect in a room or something, a facility. Yeah, the more, and it's interesting, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, that yesterday I was reading this book. The vibration started when I picked up this book to read. Okay, it looks backwards on the screen. So if it reads backwards to you, it reads No More Secrets, No More Lies, a handbook to Starseed Awakening by Patricia Corey. Okay, so yes, yesterday evening around 7:30, I had a tension headache, and then I said, let me just read, and when I start, almost immediately after picking up this book, my torso started to vibrate. And so I said, let me just go with this. I put because the more I read, the more the vibrations got stronger and stronger. So I put down the book. I said, hey, let me go with this vibration to see what happens. And that's what happened. Yeah, so yeah, the vibrations seem to really be concentrated in my um, pelvic, my base chakra area. That's the most concentration. And then, but this time, this vibration also reached to the top part of my torso. Yeah. So that's what's happening to me. And again, I do these videos. It serves as a diary because a lot of times I forget about certain details. And when I review some of um, my videos, it sparks my memory. I said, oh yeah, yes, that also happened. So also I share this information as part of my spiritual journey, and that some of you may have experienced the same thing. And if so, what were your experiences, or what led up to it? Because I want to try to see if there's any commonality. So this is being scientific as well. You notate the event, and then you try to see, are there any patterns of events? What precedes it? Because maybe it's something that I'm doing that's causing it. And if the phenomenon is happening to other people under the same circumstances, were they doing the same type of thing, or were they doing something different? So again, we are sharing information, and this is a the best tool for now, in social media, to share information so that others could share with others, and to see if there's any commonality. And if it's any commonality, there's a causality. Something is causing it. And that is the whole point of this channel, the cause of why things are happening in life today. Why are some of the people's body vibrating? Why do we see visions when we wake up out of a normal dream, and when we keep our eyes closed, sometimes we see certain phenomenon. So that's all for this early morning. It's now about 7 after 8. So I'm going to get my day going and try to do some exercise. So thank you all for watching. Take care, viewers, and have a great day. See ya.